Good Thursday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson, and let's go in and talk about the weather for your Thursday evening going into your future. We have some stuff that we are going to go on and talk about tonight. What is that stuff, you may ask? Unfortunately, the what's on tap screen is actually not made. It's actually just a black screen. So, but pretty much all the stuff that we talked about earlier, and when I say earlier, I mean last night. That being number one, prolonged dry and increasingly low humidity conditions as we go all the way throughout tonight, going into all the way into Saturday. Then moisture will increase Saturday night, maybe a bit earlier for some more upper areas. That goes all the way through Sunday, going into Monday. You get widespread beneficial rainfall as well. We'll talk about the totals for that, and then we also talk about our what's the precipitation types? Is it going to be any snow? Is there going to be this? Is there going to be that? All of that stuff we will talk about. But before we get into that, if you have not hit the like button yet, go ahead and do so. Right now, we have around a good amount of people watching right now. If you are part of that group that have not hit the like button yet, go ahead and do so. Also, make sure you want to hit the share button. Share with your friends, your family members, acquaintances, people that you don't even talk to like that, because it is very, very important that you go on and do so. So let's go on now and start off. Also, the poll will be inside the chat in just a little bit for the drought predictions. So make sure that you're going on and paying attention to that, because that will be going in soon. Let's start off with the live radar right now. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing right now going on throughout the entire state of South Carolina. But if we go on and scroll our way out, what's going on throughout the entire U.S.? Well, snowfall going on up here inside of New York, going on inside of Pennsylvania, maybe even some light snow flurries. I mean, nothing really too crazy. Some of it probably isn't even reaching the ground at that point in time, but it's still there on the radar. Then you also have some rainfall with a mix of some snowfall going on inside of Nevada, Utah, Colorado, California, Arizona. All these areas having some rainfall and some snow, but everybody else nice and dry. Look down here inside the southeast, nice and dry. Cloud cover, for the most part, it is here. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. In fact, I went outside a little bit ago and I didn't see a single cloud in the sky at all. But from what you can tell right here, seems like that our cloud cover is relatively trying to not stay as widespread throughout the state. And if we go on and look at our cloud cover for the future as well, if you go on and push this forward, you can see cloud cover as you push it forward, kind of bring this way down towards like the southern areas, but it does bring a good amount. Even as you go into, this is around 3 o'clock p.m.-ish or so, you go on and push this forward, going all the way through to around 12 o'clock in the morning, going into 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, going all the way to 4 o'clock in the morning. And you have cloud cover going on. This goes all the way, by the way, into Saturday morning. This is not Friday. We're already done with Friday. Friday, not too much in terms of cloud cover. But Saturday, like I said, definitely brings a good amount of cloud cover over into these areas. And so as you go all the way through Saturday, going into Saturday afternoon and evening, that cloud cover will really start to build by the time you get into Saturday afternoon/evening. Current temperatures right now, you have around a good 45 in Somerville, 49 in Charleston, as well as 47 in Beaufort, 49 in Hilton Head, and even around a good 45 in Georgetown, 48 in Murray's Inlet, and 46 in Myrtle Beach, 47 in Conway, as well as a good 49 in Orangeburg, 49 in Sumter, and 48 in Florence, 48 in Lugoff, and 52 in Columbia, 46 in Newbury, and 48 in Greenwood and Lawrence, 47 in Anderson and Clemson, 45 in Greenville, Spartanburg, 46 in Gaffney, as well as 47 in York and Rock Hill. Now, what about for your air quality? Air quality, for the most part, will be more than likely inside of that good category, that 0 to 50 category. Now, there are some areas right now like Greenwood, Augusta, Aiken, Florence, Sumter, along I-95, all the way from the North Carolina border, all the way down close to, I believe that's like Manning over there, Sumter, over there just to the south of that area. But has a little moderate area. Not in the orange, not under the code orange for unhealthy for sensitive groups, but it's in the moderate area. So not too bad, nothing that you have to be like, oh, I guess we're going to have to stay inside. I'm not saying anything like that. Low temperatures for tonight. You have around 32 in Rock Hill, 31 in Cheraw, as well as 30 in Dillon, 31 in Florence, and 35 in Myrtle Beach, 35 in Georgetown, and 31 in Kingstree, 34 also inside of Sumter, as well as a good 34 in Winsboro, 36 in Columbia, and 35 in Newberry, 34 in Lawrence, and 35 in Greenville and Anderson, 38 in Aiken, and 37 in Barnwell, Walterboro, 40 in Charleston, and 45 in Hilton Head Island. High temperatures for tomorrow is going to be a kind of cool day like it was today. You know, you have 58 in Greenville, 58 Spartanburg, as well as 57 in Rock Hill, 57 in Winsboro, 60 in Columbia, as well as a good 58 in Camden, 57 in Sumter, and 56 in Florence, 56 in Kingstree, and 55 inside of Georgetown, 53 in Myrtle Beach, and 57 in Charleston, 60 Walterboro and Barnwell, Aiken, all 60 degrees, and even 57 in Hilton Head Island. If you go on and look at your rainfall, no rainfall is expected for tonight. No umbrella is needed for tonight. Going into tomorrow and tomorrow night, none of that's needed. Crazy score. We are at a 32 for tonight. We're at a 32. 32. So you might be asking, 32? Why in the world are we all the way down towards the 32? Well, I will say one of the main reasons, if you want to look at the reasoning right now, is because it's gonna be, it's gonna be a cool, dry, mostly safe night for the most part, but it's gonna be chilly. We're gonna have freezing temperatures that will add to the crazy score as well. Also, patchy frost in colder inland upstate valleys and sheltered spots. Low, mid to upper 30s or lower in pockets. Consider having sensitive plants or bringing pets inside if frost is a concern. It's going to be kind of minor early, but morning slick spots are possible on untreated bridges, overpasses, in those areas. Watch for that localized frost, especially, like I said, if you're up there inside of the upstate. Well, most of us near the coastal areas and most populated areas stay near the upper 30s, low 40s, no frost risk, anything like that. Now, if we go on and look at the next screen being severe weather. Severe weather is not expected tonight. Same thing for tomorrow and for Saturday. We are good in terms of severe weather activity, so you do not have to panic, or you do not have to prepare for any sort of severe weather or any thunderstorm events for right now. Maybe on Sunday, we might be talking about some thunderstorms, but not now. No fire weather. Excessive rainfall. Here we go. On Sunday, February the 15th, we do in fact have a green isolated flash flood risk for the entire state of South Carolina. Now, what is a green flash flood risk, you may ask? Well, it's the lowest of the low in terms of flash flooding risk, but it is still possible. It's a 5% risk of flash flooding, meaning basically just isolated in some spots. Now, this will also potentially cause minor flooding, maybe a higher threat for minor flooding than actual isolated flash flooding. But I think that even though it is the lowest of the lowest, it should still be taken seriously, and it should still be something that should be still spread out, even if it is a little threat, because anything can happen. Anything can happen with these, 5% risk, rather it be with severe weather or for excessive rainfall. Anything can happen, so make sure that you're prepared for it. That's why it's here. We can go on and look at the models, though. And if we start off here, this should be the 0Z. It always starts me off on the 18Z for some reason, but here's the 9Z right here. You go in and push this forward, and you can see for the most part, you go all the way through 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning. Tomorrow, nice and dry. Going all the way into tomorrow night, high pressure is here, takes over. We are good in terms of rainfall activity, even as you go all the way into the beginning to even the evening parts of Saturday. Still looks like that we are nice and dry in terms of rainfall activity. So do not expect any sort of rainfall as we go throughout the next 48 hours or so for now. Now, what about for our long-term future? What about for our long-term future? Well, if we go on and start off here at the 54-hour mark, this is where we just ended off at. This is where At 7 o'clock p.m., you start to see some rainfall start to go on in the western areas of this map, whether it be in Arkansas or Texas or Oklahoma. You start to see that, and you start to see it kind of move its way east. Here it is at 1 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. You go all the way to 7 o'clock in the morning, 4 to 7 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. You're starting to see now isolated to scattered shower activity now inside of South Carolina as early as, like I said, 4 to 7 o'clock in the morning. You have it up there inside of the upstate. You have it inside the Midlands, Low Country, PD, wherever it may be. You have all of that stuff going on. Now, if you go all the way through to 10 o'clock in the morning, go all the way to 4 o'clock p.m., now you have rainfall going on throughout a good amount of the state. And this time it may even be heavier during the afternoon time frame than it will be inside of the morning time frame on Sunday. So we're mainly looking for that afternoon threat. And also, like I said, this could come with a thunderstorm threat as well. Thunderstorms are not out of the question, and we'll see what they post tomorrow night for that thunderstorm risk. But for right now, thunderstorms are definitely still possible. You continue all the way through Sunday evening, going all the way through Sunday night, going into Monday morning, and now that rainfall is gone. We are back to nice and dry conditions, and we look just a lot better. So rainy weekend is in store. Looks like for the most part that rainfall is going to be on Sunday. So, it said like a week ago or something like that on Valentine's Day is when all this stuff would go down. But like I said, that was a week out. Models can change, and I say it every single time. And it looks like that the same thing happened. Models changed. It went back a day instead into Sunday instead of Valentine's Day. So that's probably a huge help for a lot of people. Now, what about if we go into Monday, going into Tuesday of next week, going into Wednesday, going into Thursday? I already see some people saying it in the chat that next week looks to be nice. And honestly, I'm going to have to most likely agree until you potentially get into like the next weekend time frame. But I mean, for the most part, nice and dry next week. I mean, just looks very, very good. And it doesn't really seem too much in terms of cooler air, too. You don't see any blue spots or anything like that. Does that mean that, it's still going to be, like, hot? No. It just means that it's going to be warmer than normal. So that is something good to look at. But as we go into next weekend, you can see that we do, in fact, have some rainfall activity going on here. This goes all the way throughout the upstate. On like Saturday, like here's the 21st, 7 o'clock p.m. You have some rainfall going on throughout the upstate, the Midland areas, but way too far out, that could cause potentially some issues. We'll see what happens there. That goes all the way Sunday on the 22nd of February. Does bring some snow with it, but 270 hours out. If we even go on and look at the ensembles for it as well, we can go on and pull that up and check out snow totals with it, see if they even have anything in terms of snow totals. Like the GEFS has nothing in terms of snow totals. GEFS says no snow is going to result. The European ensemble right here shows pretty much the same thing. Nothing really in terms of snowfall. Going into we can even go to the icon as well if we want to. Actually, no, we cannot, because the icon only goes about 180 hours out. Maybe let's see with the Euro AI. Yeah, Euro AI can go out that far. Let's see if it has winter weather with it. Doesn't seem like it does, but the main point is that the ensembles right now don't really think that we are going to be inside of the zone for any sort of snowfall. So I think that that's just a bit too far out. And that's just one model run of the GFS. But we can go back to the GFS because I do want to go even further, as it just looks like, for the most part, not in terms of temperatures. We'll look at temperatures in just a second. But even further past the system, another high pressure takes over and we remain dry, but another system right after it. Potentially possible. As you go into, this is like the last day. This is the last day, the 28th, right here going into Saturday. So yeah, that's the last day of February right there. Only 380 hours away. We're not almost done, but honestly, 380 hours looks a lot closer. Going to be a lot closer than you think. So that's pretty much all I have to say in terms of the convection. But what about for our temperatures? Because obviously temperatures also is another big deal. Not only just with, obviously, just rainfall, but obviously in terms of temperatures as well. Now, for the most part, Didn't really say too much. I mean, it just says extended outlook shows warming trend mid next week, well above normal possible. This weekend event provides much needed drought relief, obviously, without major disruptions, beneficial soaking rain development, or beneficial soaking rain dominant, with good model agreement on timing and intensity despite some phasing uncertainty in the shortwave areas. There will be some minor adjustments with it, but for the most part, like I said, it looks like the timing of it's going to be Saturday night going to like Sunday morning, and then it will get out of here by Sunday night, Monday morning. So that's what the timing's looking like for this system for this weekend of rainfall. Now, I did forget to mention real quick before we talk about the temperatures, the actual rainfall amounts, because that's something important that you probably want to know. How much rainfall you're going to get from the system in general. And so if we go through the next 120 hours, this goes all the way through Tuesday. It's not going to rain really next week, so this is fine to really look all the way out into Tuesday with. But I mean, this is from the WPC. The WPC has around a good 1 inch for a good amount of areas. Columbia about an inch, 1.3 up there inside of Greenville. Almost to an inch in Myrtle Beach, almost to an inch inside of Charleston, Hilton Head Island, Beaufort, all close to an inch. So maybe even 1.5 inches in some isolated spots. But that's what we're looking at right now in terms of our rainfall rates. Now, what about for the actual models themselves? If we go in and look at the next 120 hours or so, we're going to move on over into the southeast. And this is from the GFS. GFS shows the first one. And I think for the most part, that it really just shows not really too much. Not really too much, even as you go throughout the next 120 hours or so. Doesn't really show too much. Let me show you, push this forward all the way through. I mean, yeah, GFS doesn't really show too much at all. For especially down here inside of the low country areas. I mean, it only has like 1/10 of an inch, which would be a huge bust right there if that was to happen. But that's just one model run. Things will still happen. But this one definitely on the lower end. If you go into the European model, that's an ensemble. That is not an actual model. Well, it is a model, but you go back over into the European, the actual model itself. Europeans, more on board, but shows definitely still a lesser amount than what the National Weather Service shows. If you go into the Canadian model actually kind of shows more of what the National Weather Service is saying. Has like 1 inch in some spots, maybe even 1.5 inches, maybe even trying to get that to that 1.75 inches. Shows around maybe 0.9 near Charleston, shows around 0.8 in Greenville, 1 inch in Spartanburg. That's what it just looks like here. And then even if we go into the icon, which is the last one being the icon, it shows for the most part, probably the most compared to all of them combined, rather being not combined, but in terms of the National Weather Service, the GFS, the Canadian, and the Euro, just shows more than all of them, showing around pretty much almost 1 inch for almost everybody at this point, and possibly even more, to getting close to that 1.75, maybe even 1.8 inch range. So that's all that we really have to say in terms of totals, except for just make sure that you're prepared for that. If you live in a flood-prone area, make sure that you are prepared, because this will cause some minor flooding. But let's go in and look at the temperatures now. So we're going to start off here. This is on the this is going into tomorrow. We're going to start off here at 4 o'clock p.m. Let me go ahead and move this over here real quick. And so as you just start off, you can see as we go on all the way, this is all the way to 4 o'clock p.m. on Thursday. And so if you go on and continue to push this forward all the way through, you get some temperatures down to the 30s as you go into Friday. Thursday night, Friday morning, you get into Friday during the day. You have temperatures up into the 50s, 60s in some spots. Then you go all the way into Saturday. Saturday comes along, going into Saturday during the day, temperatures in the 60s, maybe even some near the high 60s as well as you go into Saturday at 4 o'clock. Going all the way into Sunday. Here's Sunday at 4 o'clock right here, going into like the hottest part of the day. Then we actually do have some 70s according to the GFS, but I do think that is definitely a possibility. Now, if you go in and push this forward, cold air comes through, And by the time we get to Monday at 4 o'clock, I mean, we're going to have temperatures down to the 50s. But one thing that I do want you to realize, look at this. Monday at 4 o'clock in the morning, it's in the 50s in Columbia. Look as we get into the day on Monday here for Columbia, only 56. So, there's definitely could be some spots as you go into like Monday, into Sunday night, going into Monday morning, where Sunday night could potentially be warmer than Monday during the day. That's a possibility because, sometimes we just have these cold fronts move through to where during the day, it actually won't be as cold as it will be at nighttime. But, obviously we'll have some more cooler air moving in during like Tuesday, going into, trying to get into Wednesday a little bit. But, I mean, we still get 60s for highs. I mean, we still potentially will get some 70s for highs on Wednesday. Going into Thursday, I mean, look at this. Thursday at 4 o'clock, we have temperatures up into the 70s, maybe even the mid to upper 70s as you go into Thursday. That's definitely a good possibility. And again, as we go through Friday, but then a cold front will come through and kind of just knock that out. In fact, we may even see some more freezing as we go into like next weekend. That's a possibility for sure. If you want to look at the ensembles for that one, kind of right now just shows more of like a more moderate tone. So maybe not below freezing, according to the ensembles, but that one individual run right there said that we'd be in like the 50s and stuff like that. We'd be inside the 30s and stuff like that. Ensembles for the most part in terms of the temperatures for next week, I mean, it has 70s, but it doesn't really have anything in terms of being up into like the close to like the mid to high 70s. So ensembles are a bit more on the lower end. And if we go on and look at the European model, because this one obviously being a bit different, showing for the most part, 70s going into Wednesday, going into Thursday, you have some 70s here and there. Going into Friday, 70s, high 70s in some spots potentially. So I think that there definitely is a good chance that we could get some high 70s for some isolated spots as we go into next week, especially during like the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday time frame. Something to definitely keep an eye on. And so that's all that I really have to say in terms of our long-term future. So we're going to go on and talk with the audience. The drought prediction right now should be going live in about 30 seconds. So when we're done with the chat, we'll go on and talk about the drought monitor. So if you want to be a part, of the chat, you can. You just have to be a subscriber of the channel, obviously, because if you're not a subscriber of the channel, you won't be able to type. Will not be able to type. So you can join us here also at 9 o'clock p.m. is when we do our live streams at night. If you're on the recorded stream right now, or just the recorded audio right now, and then also you can also participate inside of the drought predictions as well, which is going live in about 10 seconds. Dry gone. There it is. Okay, should be inside the chat right now as we speak. So let's go on now and talk with the people inside the chat right now. So we're going to start off here. Let me see. I can't see because the drought thing's in the way now. But my Aunt Lula was here first. She says, "Good evening, everyone. I pray that you all had a blessed day." Well, I did. Thank you so much for asking. And what in the world is going on here? Can't even see the chat. There you go. Now you should be able to see the chat. But continue our way down. Mr. Grit says, "Good evening, everyone. Hope you had a great day." I did. Thank you so much for asking. He also said it was very sunny, but it was cooler. Maya Lewis says, "Today in Georgetown, our high was around 56 degrees. My high temperature at my house," well, let me say my current temperatures first. My current temperatures at my house is right now 43. Right now it's 43. And then if we go into my high temperatures for today, being at around a good 61. So actually that verified perfectly, because I said that the high temperature, because I do my own weather forecast for my local area as well, not just for the state of South Carolina. And I said that the high temperature for today was going to be 61, and it was 61 right on the dot, too. And if we go in and continue our way down, Mr. Chris says currently it's 45 degrees here at Moncks Corner. Well, thank you so much for that weather update for where you are. My name says hello, Jay. Hello to you. No problem, by the way. Maya Lou says currently our weather is 40 degrees right now. Currently 40. Well, thank you so much for that. For that weather report for where you are. And then also, Mr. Chris says, please remember to go hit the like button and the subscribe button to the channel. Also, share with everyone that you know. It's free and it helps the channel grow. Absolutely. We right now are at 15 people that have tuned in and only 9 likes, so we're doing a bit better. Only 6 people have not hit the like button. But if you have not hit the like button yet, go in and do so. It's free and you can change your mind at any time. Maya Lewis says, early morning in Georgetown was cold. However, it warmed up a little at about 2 o'clock p.m. Dad says, good evening, Joseph and friends. I trust all is well. All is well. All is well. Thank you so much for asking. He also says, it was a very nice day here inside of San Antonio as well. Well, thank you so much for that weather report as well for you are. And then Mr. Chris says, did you hear about the earthquake today? And I'm so glad. I am so glad that you said that. So glad that you said that because we will be talking about that in just a second after we talk about the drought. And then, we'll get into that. But we will talk about that because I do have some stuff that I want to say there, some information I want to give out. But yes, I did. My Aunt Lewis says, I saw that we will have some beautiful weather next week. Absolutely. Dad says Alexa said it was 81 and that it was a perfect day for Panthers fans to get outside and grill some ribs. Well, I don't blame you at all. Do not blame you at all. Go on and get some stuff done. Whether it be entertainment stuff or work, whatever you have to do outside. I mean, 81 degrees is nice right there. Is all that rain coming on Sunday? Yes. Sunday going into Sunday night for the most part. We definitely can use the rain. Maya Lou says, my goodness, this is just back and forth weather. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. I mean, you're going to see cold temperatures one week, then warm, then cold, then warm, and it's all just due to the cold fronts. And, especially once we get into, especially since we're getting closer to spring, we will really start to see those temperatures switch. I mean, we're going to see 70s one day, and then the next day it's going to be down to like the 40s and 30s and all that kind of stuff. And, it's just going to be back and forth, especially once you get in between spring. Now, once we get more to summer, it's going to be, less effective. But for, spring, fall, those 2 seasons right there, that's when it's going to be the most craziest in terms of when our weather is going to go a bit, sideways. So let's go on now, because I don't see anything else inside of the chat. Let's go on and talk about the drought. So, if you have no idea what the drought monitor is, it pretty much is just a prediction that we see, how the drought's going on right now throughout the state. Drought predictions, there is currently a drought going on last time we checked. 67% thinks that the drought has expanded. 33% thinks that the drought has decreased. 0% thinks that the drought is gone and that the abnormally dry remains. And 0% said that the drought and the abnormally dry is gone. I can see that the optimistic people aren't too optimistic anymore. But which I do, obviously we do appreciate the optimistic people because they do, at least they are hopeful that the drought is gone. But most likely it's not, and so I can explain to you why right now. Just because, number one, there just has not been enough rainfall yet. If we go into, the observed precipitation right now, and this goes all the way back towards the past 7 days, just look how much, there we go. Just look how much rainfall we have not gotten. Just like a bunch of rainfall has not fallen throughout the state. I mean, you only have 1/10 of an inch in Columbia, 2/10 of an inch in Charleston, maybe some areas 1/10 of an inch, maybe lower, and some areas have not seen a drop of rain. So, in my opinion, I just don't see how I definitely don't see how the drought is gone. We can all rule that out, number one. Number two, the drought is gone, the abnormally dry remains. Like I said, the drought definitely is not gone. And that second option, that's supposed to say our drought has decreased / stayed the same. So that was my apologies for that. If that was your prediction, if you thought that it just stayed the same, you would be in that group with the 33%. But I'm honestly going to have to agree with the majority, just say that the drought has expanded, because I just do not see how this, even just went down any. I definitely don't think that it decreased, but, if it somehow managed to stay the same, that would be my second option if I had to pick. So let's go and get a drum roll real quick, and then we will go on and reveal the answer. So I'm going to get the drum roll ready. It should be ready. Oh my gosh, yes, okay. So pretty much exactly what I thought. There is now a huge drought. Remember, there were even some areas up there, so like northwestern Greenville counties, northern Oconee counties, as well as northern Pickens County, who was not inside of a drought. Now they're in the D1. But now we have a new area, a D3 extreme drought. The last time that we've seen an extreme drought, I mean, it's been a good little minute since we've seen an extreme drought throughout the state. And it's finally here. Red areas are here. That being for southern Spartanburg County, southern Greenville County, going on over into Lawrence County, Anderson, Abbeville, Union, southern Cherokee counties. Those areas are now inside of an extreme drought, meaning that you have the worst of the worst in terms of droughts. You definitely need rainfall. I mean, that's not, just a little thing anymore. This is a big thing. You definitely need rainfall. You need it. And so this rainfall that comes in this weekend will definitely help it out. Will it be enough to get rid of it? We'll see as the drought monitor comes in next week, going into Thursday again next week, but not a good sign. And like a lot of other areas, the entire low country pretty much is now inside of a D2 severe drought at this point. So that's something new. PD areas all inside of a D1, except for a couple areas inside of a D2. Midland still in a D1, and then obviously the areas I was talking about up here now inside of a D1. So a lot of new upgrades and all that kind of stuff. So everybody should be wanting rainfall. Everyone should be hoping for rainfall because everybody needs it. Everybody needs it. So that's pretty much in terms of drought. That's what I wanted to say there. But back to what Mr. Chris was saying. There was an earthquake today. There was indeed an earthquake today, and so you might be asking, what the world was the earthquake that occurred today? You can see, but kind of like by like the ground and all that kind of stuff. But there was an earthquake today, and in fact, I can go in and pull it up for you right now. And that is, if you go in and look at it, there actually was. Oh no, that was a 2.5. That was nothing for where we were, but. If we go and look at the ones on the map, we go into the past 7 days. I mean, just look at how many earthquakes we've had. We've had 5 earthquakes in like the same area for like the past couple of days now at this point. This is it right here. So you can see right here, all down here, just to the south of Latson and Lincolnville, just to the south and east of Somerville, and just to the west of North Charleston, north and west of North Charleston. That's where these earthquakes has been, kind of just in the same area over here for the past 5 days. We had one that occurred. This happened on the 7th. This one up here happened on the 7th. It was 2.9. This one right here, the center one, kind of happened on the 11th. That one was yesterday, like evening-ish or so. It was only a 1.6. Then you had this one. This was 6 kilometers southwest of Latson. This one was a 1.6. It happened on the 9th at around 4 o'clock in the morning. And then you had this other one, 1.8. This was a 1.8. This one occurred 6 kilometers southwest of Latson at 1. And it occurred, let's see, on the 12th. So this one happened today at 3:52 this morning. And then we had this one, a 2.5. 6 kilometers southwest of Latson, that one being around like the evening time frame, going to like the late night. I think that was at 9 o'clock p.m. last night. So like actually while I was doing my live stream, this earthquake happened over here near the Latson area. So all of these areas, all, either near Centerville, near Somerville, or near Latson, all 5 of these areas have all gotten earthquakes over like the past couple of days or so. So that's just something to look at. Now, I've seen some people saying, oh, well, I guess if you have, these small earthquakes that come along, that may mean that, it will prevent like a bigger one from happening. Well, that's kind of true, but also really not true. Just because usually when it comes to earthquakes, in order to really get down to like a size to where it wouldn't really matter if an earthquake happened or not. And you know, it would be weak. I mean, you would need a bunch. You would need a whole bunch of like many small earthquakes. You would need thousands of like 2.9 earthquakes just to get to the magnitude of a 6. So, like I said, kind of right, but also mostly wrong. Just because, I mean, even though it may be loosening up a bit, it's not really doing much to really prevent a bigger one from happening. So, nothing really too positive out of this. Nothing really too positive. Speaking of Centerville, where is that? It's pretty much just to the south of Somerville. It's like right around here-ish or so. Yeah, I think I'm trying to find it. I don't know where it is on the map, but it's like in this area, pretty much over here, just to the south of Somerville and just to the west of Latchton, pretty much is where it is. But that's pretty much all I have to say there in terms of the earthquake. So let's go on now and talk about the 4 locations outside of South Carolina. You might be asking, 4 locations, what am I talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these 4 areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly. And because they tune in almost nightly, we will go on and just, talk about their areas and their weather for them. So starting off here with San Antonio, as we always do, we've, kind of been switching it up here and there. San Antonio's first, though, low temperatures tonight around 60. High temperatures tomorrow at around 81, and then low temperatures tomorrow night around 64. Precipitation not expected at this time. In fact, the only chance really is tomorrow night with a chance of showers here. But tomorrow night, tomorrow during the day, or excuse me, tonight, and then tomorrow during the day, precipitation not expected. Now, what about for your severe weather? Well, right now it looks like for the most part that you are good. You are good. In terms of severe weather, you're good. In terms of excessive rainfall, and there's nothing, really too much for me to say, except for you will just continue to have that warm-up period. I've been talking about that warm-up period for a good little bit now, but let me see, where is it at? Yeah, right here. You're gonna see some rainfall this weekend. 70% chance on Saturday, but you will continue to warm up. I mean, Monday 79. On Tuesday it's gonna be 84. Wednesday 84 degrees. So it will get warmer. It will get warmer. And speaking of your Alexa, I think you said, I don't know if you were talking about tomorrow, but the high temperature for tomorrow is 81. So if says it was 81, your 81 is your high temperature for tomorrow. Then for Raleigh, North Carolina, you have low temperatures tonight around 28, high temperatures tomorrow at around 51, then low temperatures tomorrow night at around 30. Precipitation not expected at this time. In terms of excessive rainfall, you do in fact have a risk for some excessive rainfall. That's on Sunday, same day as South Carolina. So you do in fact have a risk for some excessive rainfall going into Sunday. Now, you will see some rainfall Sunday going all the way into Monday. In terms of your temperatures, you will actually warm up as well. You're going to see high temperatures tomorrow at around 51, but on Saturday, high temperature is 62. On Tuesday, high temperature is 62. On Wednesday, 69. On Thursday, 71. So it will warm up for you, especially as you go into later next week. Precipitation, for the most part, after this weekend, you're going to be remaining dry for the most part. And then remember, isolated flash flooding possible on Sunday. Now, if we go into Philadelphia, low temperatures tonight around 20, high temperatures tomorrow at around 35, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 24. Yes, 24. Precipitation not expected, so you don't have to worry about that really too much at all. Now, it does, for the most part, look like that, you have nothing really to watch out except for maybe a little bit of a rain and a snow chance. Rain/snow chance as you go into this weekend. Sunday 30%, Sunday night 50%. Temperatures for you will be trying to increase as well. Next week Wednesday 53, Thursday 53. On Saturday 43. So temperatures are going to try and go up for you as well. And then finally for Duncan, Oklahoma, you have low temperatures tonight around 49, high temperatures tomorrow at around 78, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 57. Precipitation definitely is possible. As you go into, not into tonight, but tomorrow. Oh, I didn't even switch it. There it is. Um, I guess I don't know what's going on with that, but let me see. Tomorrow, 30% chance of showers. I'm not quite sure why it's not showing on the screen, but there is a chance of showers afternoon tomorrow, and then Friday night there is indeed an 100% chance of rainfall on Friday night. So rainfall will definitely be a possibility as you go into Friday, and will definitely happen on Friday night, Saturday, and 100%. Saturday night, a 60%. So get ready for that. That will also come with a severe weather risk on on Saturday. On Saturday, little severe weather risk that goes on, little minor, isolated severe weather risk, not only for some excessive rainfall, potentially, but excessive rainfall isn't really that much of a problem. It's really just that isolated severe weather threat. Winds from 40 to 60 miles per hour, small hail, stuff like that. I think probably, right now it looks like that if anything was to happen, it would probably just be damaging winds and hail. I'm not quite sure tornadoes would really be too high. We'll see what they say though with the actual officials. And for the most part, that's it for that area in terms of severe weather. In terms of your future though, you will actually be cooling down a little bit, but then you will warm back up, as you go into the mid parts of next week. So, you'll cool down 66 on Sunday, but then you'll warm right back up 81 on Tuesday. And so that's all I have to say for the 4 areas outside of South Carolina. So let's go on and see what's going on throughout the entire U.S. weather news-wise. It looks like for the most part, a storm system will bring heavy rainfall, thunderstorms, and flooding threats to portions of the southern plains Friday, the lower Mississippi Valley on Saturday, and the southeast into the mid-Atlantic on Sunday. High elevation snow and mixed precipitation and rain in the lower elevation will impact the Pacific Northwest this weekend before a stronger system moves in early next week. So a lot to talk about. Nothing really too crazy going on right now. It's really as we go into this weekend that we're going to start seeing that stuff, especially in terms of severe weather. Like we said, Duncan was one of those areas. Parts of Texas will see some severe weather tomorrow as well. And then Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and more parts of Texas will see some severe weather on on Texas as you go into Saturday. San Antonio is actually very close. They might actually move y'all inside of a severe weather risk for Saturday. We'll see what happens there, but it's pretty close right now. But that's all that I can see right now throughout the entire U.S. So let's go in and see the top fans of the night for tonight. Top fans seems like that we are at Mr. Chris at number 1, Maya Lula's at number 2, and then Thad's at number 3. Let me go in and make sure real quick, but I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure Mr. Chris has won it for tonight. Maya Lula's at number 2, and then also Thad's at number 3. Congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top fans of the night for tonight. If you want to be a part of the top fans, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. Also joining us, hitting the subscribe button, because you can't type. You can't be a top fan if you're not a subscriber. Also being here early, that will help out. And being active, that also helps out as well. So let's go and give them a round of applause for that. We are also trying to get to the goal of 800, 97 away. We're 703 right now, trying to get to 800, 97 away. Let's go and get to that main goal of 800 subscribers. Hit the like button, hit the share button, share with your friends, family members, acquaintances, all that kind of stuff. That will really help us out. And I think that's all I have to say for tonight. I don't see anything inside of my email, so I think that we're good. So everyone have a fantastic rest of your Thursday. I'll be back here tomorrow morning for your Friday morning forecast update. And for your Friday evening forecast update tomorrow night. Make sure that you're there for your Friday evening forecast update as well. Hit those 2 buttons before you leave if you're new.